Bonk Spotcast.
This is my first Bonk Spotcast, our premiere show with our guest, Pikaru Builds, aka Nick. Uh,
Hello.
when I first discussed this as an idea, it was talking to Nick and some other friends, and it was originally going to be for like a Patreon like thing, but I don't want to deal with that anymore. So it's just going to be a free thing for everybody to enjoy on YouTube.
You can throw it up on Spotify and potentially get some ad revenue there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll think about it. Depending on depending on how hard it is, we'll see. I'm sure it's easy.
As somebody who's looking into doing a podcast, it looks pretty straightforward to upload to Patreon. Sorry, not Patreon.
Yeah, Spotify.
Spotify.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can thank Nick. Anyway, so where are you from, Nick?
I am from Nova Scotia. That would be the second most eastern province of Canada, ever since Newfoundland got added.
And why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm just a guy in his mid-20s, hanging around the big city, spending all his money on Legos, you know. In terms of my personal life, I work in the insurance industry, which doesn't pay me atrociously, but as we all know, financially, the world is kind of shit right now, so that doesn't really amount to much. But it amounts enough for me to buy some Lego. I also am a member of Marilug, the Maritime Lego Users Group, which, fun fact, is not restricted to just the Maritimes. We have members. I don't know how far out our members are, but I know we at least have members in Ontario. Other than that, I like gaming. I like building. I like Dungeons and Dragons. I like world building and writing as proxy to Dungeons and Dragons. So I have a really weird level of creative output, and Lego is just one part of it.
Okay. And when and how did you get into like Lego and Bionicle?
The first time or the second time?
Both?
Okay. So I was more or less born into Lego. That, of course, being caveat because you shouldn't give kids under the age of 3 Lego. But by the time that I was, 4, probably old enough to know what Lego was, we would go over to my cousin's house for like family gatherings and events, and I would play with his Lego. And so early on, our parents saw that we really liked Lego because every time we were over at our cousin's houses, look the Lego. We want to play with the Bionicles. We want to play with the. He has some classic adventures set, and so we got some early Lego. I remember a boat that could float in water. And I remember from the old Lego Adventures line, the Egyptian theme, the big pyramid set, which I can't remember its name. Let me just look that up. There it is. Set 5988 for Lego Adventures theme. So yeah, so that was like the first Lego set. I still have some of those pieces in my bin to this day, though their condition are not good. They may have taken a bit of teeth to them. But around the same time as that, we got introduced to Bionicle because my cousin liked both Lego and Bionicle. He had the Toa Mata and the Toa Nuva, and I don't remember if I have it, but I do know my first Bionicle mask, if I am remembering this correctly. My first Bionicle mask was the Picari Nuva. Which was a gift from my cousin from his set collection. That winter, my parents, seeing how me and my brothers really liked Bionicle, they went and bought us 3 of the Toa Metru, because that was the wave coming out right then. And it was all downhill from there. We were buying Bionicles whenever new ones dropped. We got them for every Christmas. And in the words of my father, they went from stocking stuffers at like $5 a pop to the main gift every Christmas, because boy, did Bionicle's price go through the roof during those glorious, like, 14 years, 15.
Oh yeah,
I think they made it to 2012, right?
yeah,
Was the first wave?
2010.
Did they only go for a decade?
Yeah, it was
Oh well.
2009 was Glatorians, and 2010 was the Stars, like as the little send off.
God, for some reason I thought they went to 2012. Oh well, so they made it to 2010. Cool.
Yeah, I definitely remember prices popping off because even as a kid, I
No,
was like, "Oh my god, they're so like they're like nice and cheap. You can buy them with your allowance or whatever." But then all of a sudden, I mean, they were still reasonably expensive, or sorry, reasonably priced for the Toa or whatever. But like, they definitely went
yeah, more
up.
or less. Yeah, so because like the way my parents described it, I was too young to really know what money was. It was like, oh, $20 is nothing in my head. But my parents describe it being like getting a Toa Metru for $5 in the canister, and then turning around, and now they're like $20 every time you want to buy it, which is just 2008 financial crisis. That's all its fault.
True.
Even
Yeah.
if it was like 4 years later.
2009 financial crisis, but I want Scopio XV1.
You have that. I don't.
I know. I mean, like that's like what little little child versions
Little
of
you
us
are.
would be like, ignorance of the
Definitely.
financial
Definitely.
woes of the times. But
So
anyway,
yeah, no. For Christmas, we obviously got the three Metru. The Metru we got were my brothers got Fakama and Nuju, and I got Toa Wenua, which, as mentioned in previous interactions with many people, is the entire basis for why I go for the Great Ruru as my mask of choice. It's
right.
called back to my first ever set. Um, Following that, we mentioned stars briefly, and evidently, I never got anything in the star line. They dropped stars, and I stopped buying Bionicles. I was really disappointed with it. My brother did get uh, Tahu stars and Takanuva stars. So I technically have them in my bin, but I never bought them myself. And then same for Hero Factory. So that's about when my dark age hit. I got some Lego Star Wars after that, but financially didn't have the money to afford Lego most of the time. And it wasn't until COVID where, scooting around the internet, I stumbled across Mechanical Hands' Instagram page and get really back into Bionicles, and make the connection that he's using the Digital Environment Studio, or stud.io, however people want to pronounce it. And now I'm full back into the swing of Lego building and everything, and joining user groups and going to conventions. So strange how that happens.
Yeah. Well, that kind of ties into the next question here. How involved in the Bionicle community would you say you are?
Right now, 50%. I don't feel like I interact with the greater community as much as I was doing, say, last year. But a part of that feels like there has been less events going on inside the community. I'm pretty interactive with like the core Bionicle groups that I interact with, be that Ariba and Pancake Crew, or like me and you, who are both in the Onyx crew, or Waffle House, however you want to refer to that. Not that people outside the interview would have any idea what I'm talking about.
I'm sure there's
Uh,
lots of little group chats out there.
there's definitely those are I interact with the core group. We still talk plenty of Bionicle, but I'm sure even many people online might have noticed that I've slightly veered away from building Bionicles even digitally, which is why I'm saying 50. Now, Lego as a group, I'm still pretty interactive with, as evidenced by the fact that I've gone to Brick Fair. I have joined a Lego user group. I've been doing events locally here in Nova Scotia with the Lego user group, and plan to participate in a lot of them. In fact, Teardown for one of them is coming up, and then we're planning for another one that I'm probably going to participate in March. But yeah, so interacting with like the close knit group within the community, still doing plenty of, though most of that interaction isn't Bionicle related as much. As for the greater group, I'm not against participating in more stuff. I'm just not seeing a lot of stuff out there for me to join in on.
Okay. What's your opinion on the sort of greater community as it stands in 2025?
In 2025, bit of a shit show at times, I'll be honest. I think everybody who just goes out there and builds and posts their works, that's pretty cool. People who like get together and do like mock collabs, that's also going really well. But there's definitely since post COVID, I've seen a lot more division in the community, a lot more niches forming with various opinions that are being put out there a bit more than I think they should be for what the community is. If I'm being honest, I don't think it's the worst thing. I still think people can plenty join and interact and whatnot. But yeah, there's, especially where I'm coming from the Instagram side, there's definitely a lot of excessive story callouts and just too many people going around focusing less on Bionicle and more on anything other than needs to be. I think that's the best way I'm going to word that. And that's my personal opinion at the end of the day. If others disagree with me, others disagree with me. I'm not going to say that I am the pillar of social interaction online and in the community. For many people who know me personally, my standpoint for the Picaro Builds account is to like not interact with anything social politic wise. I think that's the best term to describe it. I mainly go on there, I post my builds, I interact with some people, and once you're interacting with me, you might get a bit more. But in terms of the camp itself, I treat it very corporate in terms of how I interact with stories and whatnot. I have opinions personally, but the account itself, I want it one removed from that.
Yeah, I can respect that. I try and do the same thing with Bonk Spotlight. Keep it kind of neutral, but I mean...
The most chaotic my account gets is when I decide to share with close friends a weird meme I found.
Yeah, that's fair.
Beyond that, like, if you're just like a regular viewer, it looks pretty sterile.
So even if the community is a bit of a shit show, what's one thing about it that you love?
I love meeting new friends. I've met a lot of great friends from the community, and we have, as a crew, have gone on to do some fun things, even outside of Bionicle-related media. Between college and COVID, most of my friend groups kind of died, and I wasn't really getting as much interaction online or offline. I used to have a really good online crew in high school, but that fell apart once I went to college. So just having like a large group of friends that I can spend my days with chatting and playing video games, or even meeting up in real life in some situations, has been amazing. Additionally, I love seeing everybody's creative works. I like exploring and seeing cool tricks and ideas that people do as they build. Instagram is still good for that. And, you still meet plenty of fun people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's entirely destroyed. It's just that there's more clicks out there that I don't like interacting with as much as I used to.
That's totally fair. I mean, there's like new accounts popping up all the time.
Yeah, I'm ironically one of the first to follow
them. Yes, you are. You're very... Yeah, I'd say you're more involved than you think you are, even if it's not like directly,
I'm outside involved, definitely more than I probably give my credit for. But in terms of directly, that's what I mean, where I'm not as involved as I feel I used to be.
Well, anyway, you mentioned the creativity of the community. On that topic, what's your favorite mock of your own at the moment, and why?
My own favorite mock? Oh my. What is my favorite mock? So that's a double-edged sword for me, because everybody knows that I'm a dirty little thief. I steal everything that I like.
With credit,
I can tell you what. For the most part, I have been in trouble with that for the past. I still think to this day the Picaro model is not credited properly.
Oh my goodness.
Not that I've ever gotten any shit for the Picaro model. And then again, it's pretty simple, which I think is half of it. No, I've definitely gotten in some trouble with it in the past, but for the most part, I don't try to go to my way to piss people off. Not fun for me.
I know, like, the quantity you produce, so it might be harder for you in particular.
Definitely, I just put stuff out there. Oh, what am I thinking? I have such an obvious answer. It's one of my oldest mocks. Arachnix. Arachnix is fucking awesome.
What about Arachnix is so awesome?
Giant fucking spider lady. And, like, is the main villain of the storyline. Not that she's necessarily evil. She's just, just a baddie.
Fair enough. I can fuck with that.
No, that was a really fun one to build. And I built that early on, and I have made very few revisions to it. I think the core body was pretty good from the get-go, paired with, I think I made some modifications to the torso once I got a hold of some of Callie's designs.
Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween. I forgot she's changed her account
Yeah.
name. Callie Sola Epsilon, now known as Halloween. I take credit for that. Yeah, no, Arachnix version 2 I think, is a great design overall. And, I like a lot of my Titans from the precursor line. Vampirix is a pretty good one as well, where Vampirix technically is the oldest, because that was, like, me making a Titan out of an old Makuta design I used to build, like, physically back when I was 12, 13. So to get it up to the state it's currently in is pretty cool. Venomark is also cool. I love how I made the weird Birdman, who's the mad scientist. And Gakamaru is really fun, where that one's more me taking from another designer whose name I'm not remembering off the top of my head because it has like a bunch of A's in it. I want to say Astaru, but I'm not certain. But if we were to go to the post, you would see the tag. That one was definitely stolen, but I like the concept beyond just, hey, I stole the physical design, how the design plays into my idea for the character's personality and whatnot. And then Hoiho and Aika are a bit more lacking. They have less purpose overall, but they're still cool. I'm actually thinking of making a new one. It's been a bit, but I've had a bit of inspiration for one of my precursor Titan ideas. Yeah, no, the precursor Titan line is great, and Arachnix would definitely be my top pick.
Okay. So you talk a lot there about inspiration you've taken from other creators. Are there any recent mocks you've seen out there that you really like?
Where I've been mostly focusing on the Halo stuff. I feel like I've been looking around less, and I do also feel that I've seen less that has really jumped out at me as something I would want to emulate, which is what it is most of the time when it comes down to is I see something that somebody does, I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to do that. I want to figure out how they did that. It's all like a giant puzzle to me, and I really like it.
As far as Bionicles go, like, what are some things that you see that you want to put your own spin on? Like types of mocks.
That might take me a bit more searching, but I know immediately for your earlier question, an example of something that I have seen recently, not Bionicle related, but from a fellow builder in the scene, that I kind of am still debating whether or not to reverse engineer. Anderson Builder, his BB1 model that he designed with like full articulation, that's like a size down from the official Lego one, which I also own. His medium-sized BB1 design is amazing, and there's a good chance at some point I reverse engineer it and then buy my own.
Now, did you end up meeting him at Brick Fair?
Oh fuck yeah! I have him on I have him on Discord.
Yeah, I it was cool to meet him and see his mocks in real life because they're huge and they're so detailed.
He was really chill. He was one of the best ones to get along with. As you and I both went to Brick Fair, and so you know that like the crew likes to make fun of me for how much I talk up Brandon builds. Brandon builds was cool, but like the interaction I get with Brandon builds would have been like a fraction of the amount of time I spent with Anderson. Me, him, a few others like hung out periodically. No, I've been saving a lot more Lego in recent times because I've been building a lot more Lego. Beans Bionicles, Soundwave Bionicle. He's got a Soundwave Superior, Autobots Inferior is the name of the tag on the post. It's not a functional Transformer Bionicle, but it's clearly emulated off of Transformers Prime's design. And it uses a lot of those plate pieces that you would see on like Technic vehicles. It looks really clean, so I got that one saved for whenever I want to take a crack or utilize its design philosophy. From Eclipse Caller, I got this really cool dinosaur head made of Bionicles. They've titled it the Dusk Wyvern. And then from Kalhiki Art, I got his Jetbug redesign, which I thought was really cool. So those are the three most recent Bionicle-specific posts that I've seen that I saved. I haven't done anything with them or like try to reverse engineer them recently, but they're there for whenever I want to go back through my Instagram saves and like I want to build something. I'm looking for like these kind of traits, and I'll just go until I see what I like, and then I'll build it. That's typically how I function.
Cool. So hypothetically, if you could choose any creator to make a mauve of one of your mocks, who would you choose?
Oh shit. Oh man. I don't get as many mobs made outside of like the core social group. Evidently, because for most people they don't build digital, and finding a blue Vuru sucks.
Yeah.
So got myself in the foot on that one.
I'm going to shout out Buryu
But
Mux. I got my creator designed Blue Ruru from him, and it's fabulous.
well, shout out to him as well because you'll never guess where all mine came from. I don't have a single real one because by the time I decided to look at buying one, they were over $100, and I wasn't ready to spend that much money on a single mask when I could spend like $20 for the custom one. Plus, like I've bought a few, including like my custom variant that I use on Pikaru 3.0 from Buryu, and oftentimes Buryu sends me a free additional one when I buy them because I think I've bought from him frequently enough that he'll just throw in the extras, and it's fucking awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that he does that.
When I got mine, I also got an extra mask, and I believe someone said it's potentially a defect, like one that didn't turn out quite as well, but he includes it anyway.
Oh, I haven't noticed any defects that I can tell.
I mean, who knows?
Like, most people, when they look at the mock, they can't tell that it's fake. He does a really good job.
Really good, yes.
But yeah, if I could get anybody to make me a mauve, oh, you know what? Gonna go all out, fucking Wombat Combat. Gonna go straight to the top. Imagine if Wombat Combat made a mauve.
How long have you been following that creator?
Wombat? I think I've known about him since before I got into Instagram. Like, I've never been one for the YouTube side of Bionicle, but even then, I knew of Wombat Combat Productions. I had seen some of his stuff before. And to get to meet him and even hang out with him for a day or afternoon at Brick Fair was a really cool experience. He was a real chill guy. I've been meaning to make a model of one of his characters because I said to his face that I would, but I haven't gotten around to it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Have you participated in any collabs?
Oh, I've participated in many collabs. In fact, half the reason I said that I don't feel like I've been as interactive with the community is because I feel like there's been a lack of collabs recently. Then again, I'm kind of crazy guy who wants to do a collab a month.
Yeah, when you start a collab, you have like a mock done within like 2 days, usually.
A week at the longest. But yeah, no, because that's what it is. Collabs are like when I run out of core ideas, and I don't like just making characters constantly or reworking them constantly. I'm not the kind of person who constantly tinkers with a design. I usually get something to where I want it, and then it isn't until I get a new idea that I even try returning to an idea. So collabs work for me because they give me ideas to work with, and oftentimes I really like a collab idea to the point where I will make multiple entries, and where my building style is to sit down on studio and just go at it, and that's like my entertainment for an evening. I'll often have things done pretty fast. It's also can attribute to part of the reason I have such a fast output. I know that for many people, it's a bit slower because they want to do the physical builds, which is something I do a lot less of, in part because money, in part because, well, my shelf is pretty fucking full. You should see my office. I have a bunch of my Lego sets in my office as well. We're moving in a few months. But yeah, so I love collabs. They give me ideas. They're like, hey, build something like X. I'm like, perfect. I'm now going to build something like X. In fact, if it weren't for the fact that I don't think we're talking about the collab right now, I might have changed my answer for my favorite mock recently to an upcoming one in a couple months.
Well, that's something for people to look forward to for sure.
Yes, look forward to the Mockonomicon collab. That thing's going to be crazy.
Yes.
I'm thinking of making some additional mocks for that one as well, since I've already finished my core one, and we got like 4 more months.
Yeah. So of the collabs you've participated in that have been published, what would you say
Oh
is your
my.
favorite?
I'm gonna go with the safe answer and say Warp Reflections for two key reasons. One, that was my first ever collab. In part because I shot myself in the foot the first opportunity I had to join a collab. Um, so yeah, Warp Reflections. I had a lot of output. That's where we started establishing my trait of being done the day of. Or no, wait, sorry, I take that back. I think Warp was my second. I apologize.
Oh, it's all good.
No, my first collab was the Solicverse collab, the first one with Nova. Not only was I done my mock the first day, I was actually done before the collab even started
Oh my
because
god.
Nova reached out to me and I said that's great. Made my mock, and then made a dumbed down version of it to act as like an announcement for the collab. So the day he announced the collab, I posted the other mock, and I had multiple variants of that. But no, the Warp Reflections would be second, but it still would be my favorite because established a lot of the key traits that I have in mocking and collabs of fast output, vast quantities, and that collab has gone on to create a really key social group for me to the point where most of the people from that collab I still interact with to this day.
That's sweet. And that one was hosted by Halloween, right?
Yeah, Cali Sola Epsilon back in the
Right.
day, but now Halloween.
I was just gonna say the Mocronomicon is hosted by Kitty Mox.
Yeah, and I would like to note that the War Reflections was such a good collab that Halloween refuses to ever do another one.
Right.
He did not enjoy hosting a collab.
I mean, I feel like a lot of the time collabs turn into a collaborative hosting thing anyway. Like there's a lot of like shared responsibility, but it is I understand it can be stressful too.
Speaking of collabs and favorites, I guess if I had to pick a second favorite, it would be the Soldiers of the Swarm collab, the one that I hosted. That was my second full year of Bionicle. The prior year, I had basically done the entirety of September, like posting a Bow Rock inspired mock per day. Not exactly per day, but you know, I posted a lot. So I decided the next year that I wanted to do that again. And I did the Soldiers of the Swarm collab, and I got a bunch of people to join in, and we had a lot of fun creative output, and I got to do a lot of more really cool Bow Rock mocks. And then, that was fun. That was my first time hosting. I think it went really well. I don't feel I fell for many of the pitfalls that a lot of other people fall into when hosting specifically a collab. Namely, that's me saying that I told everybody post on the day or else. So is everybody ready? It's like, no, you give them a deadline. Don't ask if they're ready. That's my piece of advice to anybody wanting to host a collab. Set a deadline and just stick with it. Yeah. Make it a reasonable deadline, of course, but like, stick with it. And if people want to post after the deadline, go ahead. Like, I'm not too concerned if you want to post 3 days later. Just like, this is the deadline.
What is your favorite Bionicle-related memory? I feel like you might have covered this in your actual spotlight, but you can.
I definitely have, but it's definitely got to be one of the Christmases right now. But I feel like it's a toss up. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a toss up between opening and getting the Toa Metru for the first time on Christmas, or the Christmas where we were over at a family friend's place for a Christmas party, I believe, the night of Christmas Eve. And for some reason, we got our gifts there at the party instead of the next day. And my parents had gone out and got 2 of the vehicles from the Fantoka Mystica era. I had Jet Track. That's what I got that year for Christmas. It was fucking awesome. And my youngest brother got Pohatus. And for some reason, I swear we got all 3, but I feel every time I look in the Bionicle bin, which I know is only 1/3 of what we used to have, because some of it got donated away and lost over the years, so I know I'm missing a large chunk of my old collection. But yeah, I swore we had all 3, but I know we at least had Pohatu and his little one, and the Nakune and Jetrax.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Oh yeah. Not the limited edition version though, just the basic.
Oh, I mean, still pretty awesome. I feel like a lot of people that's on their way with.
Oh my god. I remember building it and being like, this is so cool, and then flicking the switch and it flips out and being like, oh my lord! Oh, it was so awesome.
Yeah, they don't make them like they used to.
Well, I mean, if you ever want the feeling of building a Bionicle set that has such cool play features, a good alternative that came out last year, fucking the Dune Ornithopter nails that feeling. I had so much fun building that set.
Yeah, I got that one too. It's very Technic heavy.
Which is why it hit that itch for me. Like, any of the other sets I've gotten in like the recent years, they're all a little more generic. Like even my Lego Tahu doesn't have the same feeling as like a classic Bionicle set. But no, the Ornithopter nails it with its Technic interior.
Oh, for sure. What would you say is your favorite community-related memory?
Well, it depends what you mean by community, because I could just say Brick Fair. Would Brick Fair count?
Yeah, of course. Like,
Brick Fair would be my greatest community-related memory, because that was my first time, for the most part, meeting up with all of those online friends that I've been in many a collab with and interact with all through just Instagram and maybe Discord. Getting to meet people in person, socialize, hang out, and as like a very outgoing extrovert who loves to talk, the convention was awesome for that. I just walked around for like a week and just pick people at random, be like, I want to interact with you for the next hour, including but not limited to Anderson Builds, Wombat Combat, fucking 2 people from the goddamn TTV channel, Ben Brixton, Uncle Sammy Poo, and just like the entire crowd at the Lego Halo table for that year. We picked up Steven through those kind of means. I got to interact a bit with Brandon Builds. Oh man, I got a follow back from Socket Ball because I straight up told him, I was like, yeah, no, you're cool, I follow you, and they're like, oh, I'm not following you. He's like, oh, follow me back. So just getting to meet and interact with that community in person that way was phenomenal. And I'm a bit sad that I'm not going back this year. But hopefully I'll still be able to... I'll definitely at least be able to scratch the itch at the Canadian convention that I'm planning to go to.
Bricks in the Six?
Yes, I intend to go to Bricks in the Six this year.
Nice.
With or without a crew. Because, I said or without a crew, but technically, if I go, I'd be, and I'd go by myself in terms of, like, our Bionicle community, I'll be directly socializing with my LEGO user group since we're going this year.
Oh, that's cool.
And they go frequently enough that, at least there's other people there that I would be going with more directly.
Yeah, I'm definitely considering Bricks in the Six this year because, it's only like a 4-hour drive for me rather than like the 9+ hour it was to Brick Fair.
Honestly, as expensive as flights were, I don't regret choosing to take a flight and having the whole week there. It was, I think it was worth it to get the full experience.
That's fair.
Bricks in the Six is definitely a cheaper flight for me, though.
Sweet.
I have been told that half the fun is hanging out at the hotel. But as cool as that is, at the end of the day, if I could save myself $200 a night, I'll save myself $200 a night.
That's $200 a night you can spend on Lego instead.
Exactly, probably not. But I will.
So you definitely shouted out a bunch of people so far in the call. Is there any other people like mockists or artists or friends you want to shout out?
Artists. Marcus, well, give me a second. Let me get a list here.
Okay.
Let's see. Bioscroll 97, Tyrixus, Birdie Girl 01, Ink Creates, Kiri Mox, Alex Parsons, Inspirations to Creations, myself, Chronic.Bionicle, also known as Nova Nuva, Grimafell, also known as Grima, Mr. RO3 with a bunch of underlines. Galley Legacy, JN Mox, Vakua the Mask Maker, Clustry Mox, Halloween _ Kanoe Facts on Rixo Does Drawing, Norstar, Kafu of Matanui, Mechanical.Hands, Biomancer 4, Golden Cat Creations, Nile Persona, Taraga Azari, Afanatoa Tahu. On to the next group.
You're gonna make me regret editing this thing when I pop up all those usernames or whatever I decide to do.
I would recommend not doing it. I won't do full lists this time. Which apologies for people whose name I don't
no,
list
it's
going
all good.
forward. Because I have a lot of social friends I like, but I feel I would be doing an injustice if I didn't call it at least Ariba, who respect the man because he respects me kind of situation. God, that sounds self-centered. That's not how it's supposed to come up. He reached out to me asking about the community, and I got him into it, and I really like that. So definitely shout out to Ariba. Additionally, I feel I'd be doing an injustice if I didn't give a shout out to Trick Mox, who, yeah, apologies, my dude. I love your mocks. As you know, I like to take a lot of your design influences straight down to 100% Picaro is stolen from him.
Sheesh.
I said it many times, but I don't think I've ever like said it that out loud outside of like social circles. It was like, yeah, no, 100%. I just stole a design of his for a Voya Nui Matoran that I was like, oh man, this looks awesome. So yeah, so there's my giant list of shoutouts. Have fun editing that if you choose to.
Thanks.
I won't blame you if you don't.
Yeah, we'll see. This is like the first run, the test run. We'll see what happens from here. But do you have any upcoming mocks or projects you're excited about?
I'm working on a lot of Lego Halo, evidently. Brick Fair, seeing a Lego Halo table got me back into it. That was something I used to do when I was younger, in amidst the Bionicle, before Mega Bloks came along and soured my taste towards it. But yeah, no, I'm trying to not necessarily create my own design for every vehicle in Halo, but get a design for every vehicle in Halo, and then eventually build up a giant collection to bring to events. Right now, my physical mocks are kind of a small collection, but I got like 2 more underway where I'm waiting for parts for. And I got 5 done at this time, so got a bunch of Lego Halo stuff in the works. But in terms of Bionicles itself, I think I have a couple that I want to make physical that have been posted, but for the most part, in terms of anything new that hasn't been seen yet, I only got 2 for upcoming collabs, and both of them are a ways out. But who knows? Inspiration strikes me at the most random of times, and we'll see if I have something out within a couple days, if we're being realistic.
Yeah. I made one Halo mock in my time when I was like 12. It's on Brick Shelf. If you ever use that site, it's absolutely
I've
heinous.
never heard of it.
No, really. It's a big old
Brickshelf.com.
It's like a
Oh
big
god, it looks old.
Yeah, it's very old. It's still got the same UI from like 20 years ago probably.
Hey, look, Saber Scorpion posts. God, I miss Saber Scorpion.
Something really fun to do on Brick Shelf is I think there's a random button on the homepage. You can just cycle
Oh,
through
no, I
that.
see it. I see it. Ooh, what the fuck is this? A Tanaka. Ooh. It immediately gave me a kick-ass Bionicle.
That's sweet. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to play with sometimes. Let's see.
I might have to save this webpage.
Well, there we go. We found another cool resource for you. It's more mocks to lovingly adapt, right?
No, I'm a dirty thief, and I'll always refer to myself as such.
All right. Well, so you've touched on Halo. Are there some other hobbies you enjoy, and hobbies that you'd be interested in sharing with like other fans?
Oh, Dungeons and Dragons, hands down. I play 3 sessions a week, and I'm currently in for active campaigns and a lot more inactive because no, I'm in fucking 5 active campaigns right now. I have a key group, and luckily for me, not everybody is a dungeon I'm not the forever DM within my groups, so we got like 4 DMs. So we got 2 campaigns that play on Tuesdays that alternate every 2 weeks. We got my campaign that I run on Fridays that is pretty set and solid, and then 2 campaigns that rotate on Sundays, which I'm currently on a break from running anything in that block. But after one of these campaigns ends, I'm taking it back over, and we're finishing my first campaign world, and we'll see how God's Fall goes. Beyond that, Nope. Really, just in terms of active hobbies, it's really just Lego and Dungeons and Dragons, and I guess video games. If you really want to call that a hobby, I think that's more just a form of entertainment, personally.
Fair enough. Could you ever see yourself running like a Bionicle themed D&D campaign?
I've looked into it, but for the most part, with how I interact with Bionicle and its storytelling, I don't feel like a tabletop would be the best way to do it. I did sign up to join a session as a player once, but that fell through.
Aw, shucks.
Oh well, for the most part, the idea of telling a story, a Bionicle story, as a D&D campaign, I don't feel it'll work. In part because the kind of players I play with are the kind of they're not like pure murder hobo, but they're the kind to like go through something dumbly without, you know, looking into the greater story going on around them.
Fair enough. We're almost at the end here. Do you have any questions for me?
What's your name?
My name is Bonk Spotlight, but
Crazy.
my real name is Alex.
Pleasure to meet you, Alex.
Oh, you too.
I've had no association with you before this.
Of course not. Of course.
Sarcasm.
Yeah, I'm pretending you're not one of my good friends that I met, so I can do a proper interview. But it's still
You were
fun.
the first person I ever met in person out of all of our online groups.
That's true. Yeah, my wife and I went on a trip to Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and PEI, and it was right when I started getting like very chatty with Bionicle people on Discord. And I found out Nick lived somewhere that I was visiting, and he was like, "Let's go for dinner."
Yeah, I took you and your wife out for dinner.
Yeah, that was lovely. And
we got to meet Elvis.
yes, we went to some.
That was my
50s.
first face reveal. The 70s diner.
Right, 70s.
Was it a 50s diner?
I think it was 50s because Elvis, right?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I just call it the old diner because it's retro.
Fair enough. And there he was in his Bionicle shirt. It was perfect.
My Bionicle shirt and my trademark leather jacket and fedora.
What was it? It was Creative Mechanics shirt. Golly.
Oh yes, Creative Mechanics galley shirt.
Yeah.
I physically have the shirt anymore, but I wore it so much that the art faded off of it, which saddens me. Because I loved that shirt.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to include?
No, I really can't think of anything else. I've chatted plenty enough. I've gone above and beyond with most of the questions for sure. I've definitely said stuff that wasn't necessary to any questions.
Oh, whatever.
So yeah, no, I can't think of anything more to add. Give me a follow if you're not giving me a follow, and if you're a Bionicle account and I'm not giving you a follow, sure, tell me, I'll follow you. I like my feed being full of Bionicles and nothing else on Instagram.
Maybe some Halo Lego too.
Oh yeah, no, I'm following the few Halo Lego accounts that are out there.
Okay. Well, yeah, thanks for your time, and thanks for being the first guest, my test subject for this, which...
By all means. as I said to you when you were asking for people, man, do I love to talk.
Yeah, this interview was scheduled today and performed today within like an hour.
Within an hour.
Yeah, so thank you. And yeah, everyone can follow him at Pikaru_builds on Instagram. If you like Lego Halo and Bionicle and you like seeing posts like almost every day, this is the guy for you. So
yeah, it's a bit of a drop off. Hasn't been that frequent recently.
Well, probably more frequent than most.
Definitely more frequent than most.
All right. Well, I don't know how to end this, so I'm just gonna end it there.
Fair enough.
So
goodbye.
Bye.